This is going to be our second to last recording of the season because this one covers episodes 4, 5, and 6. So we're officially at the halfway point for these shows.
Yeah, we're halfway through the season already, and damn, it's happened fast. If you think about the multiplicative aspect of what we've watched so far, I mean, we've watched like 30 to 40 episodes of anime from this season.
But it's spread over like a month and a half or something though, so it's like it works out too. It's funny though. There's a bunch of shows I failed like right away, and I was like, okay, what if I like revisit a bunch of them like on episode 7? So I did that. I revisited a bunch of shows and just picked up like the episode 7, and I was kind of shocked how many shows like have not changed or improved at all since like there is one that got better. That'll More Than a Married Couple. Surprise! I saw episode 7. It was like a different show. It still looked the same, but like the storyboarding and the way all the scenes flowed, like they weren't doing like the weird scene transitions. Everything flowed a lot better. It seemed like it was more emotionally tuned in to be like a serious romance anime, whereas the first episode, it was trying to rush through the intro of the story is what I'm taking. It flows a hell of a lot better on. I still don't think I would ever pick it up, but yeah, I thought that intro episode was so rough that they weren't gonna like recover from it, but it seems competent. Although, much to my amusement, they did have a flashback scene in episode 7 where they showed the frame of them kissing again from her back, and I was like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah, they had to commit to it, I guess.
I don't know if you switched to Bocchi the Rock as the favorite yet, but I'm pretty sure Do It Yourself is both of our favorites at the moment.
Right. I mean, it's real tight.
I think Do It Yourself has the best cast out of all the shows we're watching here, like by far.
That I actually would agree with. That I would definitely agree with. The cast is the strongest by far of any of the shows.
All of the characters are really good in this one.
Yeah, no, the characters were just as good as I hoped they were, seeing their very creative, colorful designs in the preview. It's like it's all filled out exactly how I wanted it to. I'm telling you, it's that Furuyasu touch. He knows like character writing.
We never mentioned this on the actual recording. We should mention Furuyasu, our beloved scriptwriter here, is also the scriptwriter for Interspecies Reviewers.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, redo of Healer, Oni Eye.
Yeah, I mean, I know you did, like Girls Last Tour.
Furuyasu has a very strange history of anime he's written the scripts for, and he doesn't act. He has a couple cutesy ones. He has
Yeah, and he did all the writing for Gochiusa. Yeah, he penned all of Gochiusa. I know he even did like the most recent season. So he's like fully attached to that one.
But I think it's funny because this guy has written some filth in his times, and I don't know. It's just funny that he can manage to pull something like Do It Yourself together, an original anime with like a all-star cast here.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's got some writing versatility, considering like he's worked on Filth, but then he's worked on like saccharine sweet Gochiusa tier stuff. So he's really been on both sides of the line.
He's also writing Futoku no Guild, which is also from this season, which is hilarious because he's writing like one of the best of the season and then like one of the worst of the season. But anyways, yeah, Do It Yourself. So over the course of the rest of the episodes, we did bring a couple more people. We got Kokoro got introduced, our new tan girl who jumps around the trees and barges in through the roof of the clubhouse.
Yes, she's kind of she does that like the cat speak, right? She does like the nya at the end of her speech. She's like a human cat. She like leaps onto trees and swings around and doesn't come in through the front entrance and
she's also proving that she's a member of the high-tech school because she'll like hack the cameras to turn them off before like jumping around on the trees. I did like the gag where Jabako keeps like trying to buy shit with like her credit card.
Right, with her fucking like like her black tier like god credit card She
just has like infinite money.
Yeah, she just wants to flex her like insane tech conglomerate credit line, and Ray's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna raise our own money. We don't need your handouts.
There's this one gag where she wants to live like in Pudding's house, right?
Right, yeah.
And Pudding's mom comes in and she's like, "Oh, well, you're gonna have to pay rent, 10,000 yen." And then Jabuko's like, $10,000? All right, you got it.
Yeah. Completely bungling the conversion, but at the same time, $10,000 is still nothing to our tech conglomerate heiress. I was always wondering how they were going to get Purin sort of to link together with the DIY club, and they very cleverly used Jabuko as the link. Jabuko was supposed to go to Uvok, but she fucked up the kanji and all that because they look too similar. But of course, she still wants the curriculum, and she had to solve that problem. But then she very quickly realized that she could sort of just mooch off of Purin here, who is very enthusiastic about the material at her school. So she kind of solves that problem easily by breaking into her house and basically just being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna build a loft and just live here now."
And they still have so much cool shit they're showing off, like that they're coming up with for this anime. Like, Jabuko is getting tired of living at the fancy place by herself, so she's like, "I want to move into a normal people house." She takes out like this device. Wait, it was her phone, right? It was some phone app where it shows her where she can like build stuff in like the empty space in front of her, and it's like, and I'm like, man, that is cool. They got like, there's so much cool shit in this anime.
Yeah, it was like a weird futuristic like phone app that was like on like a phone she like built or something. Yeah, they're coming up with like all sorts of like that. They're really taking the like near futuristic premise and running with it. They're taking like technologies that are still sort of being developed in like the here and now, but like pushing them to like the theoretical, like this technology is working now and here's the applications of this. And yeah, she's got her like world builder phone app, and of course she has her like smart glasses she uses in the beach episode that like target and identify like stuff on the beach and like materials and stuff, so that she can just find stuff like at a glance.
There really is so much clever stuff in the show, like the fact that it's like a do-it-yourself building things anime, but they incorporate all these like futuristic elements that they created for the anime, and then that also ties into why Pudding gets involved with the club, is because they're building all this stuff to like move in Jabuko, and she's secretly enjoying like building all this cool stuff in her own house, and she doesn't really realize it until later on.
She sort of gets roped into like helping her build the loft, and then she sort of just ends up incidentally enjoying it. Jabuko is the perfect in-between because of course she still wants to learn and about all the tech stuff at Uvok, because she is that like smart genius girl tech conglomerate who wants to learn all that stuff, but of course she still loves the DIY side as well, so she's like the perfect bridge to get Purin to sort of realize that musty old DIY stuff that she was talking smack about the whole time was actually not that bad after all. I loved the beach episode. I think it's probably my favorite episode so far.
I thought it was cute. They were all at the beach like, "Oh, we're just looking for materials for the DIY club." However, all of us happen to be wearing our swimsuits underneath our clothes. I mean, just in case,
Right.
It's fun.
I liked how like Ray like asked about that, and she was just like kind of like trying not to admit she was wearing her bathing suit, and then of course everyone was on the same page and was hiding the same exact thing. But yeah, we had them foraging because right now they're trying to build a secret hideout in a tree house using the tree outside of the outside of the DIY club, and they were foraging for materials because they need a lot of wood. Right now they're trying to they were getting materials to make like little homemade trinkets to sell because they need to raise some money to buy very expensive tree bolts to make the tree house, because apparently those things are absorbently expensive. So they need to do some fundraising, and Ray's rejected Jabuko's black credit card for that purpose. Yeah, I love how it was half the material forging and then half the actual like beach fun times. But we got to see Purin we got to see the first glimpses of her integrating with the club in that episode. Because I mean, it's inevitable she's going to end up being part of it. Like she's in the club in like every single promotional thing. She's in the club in the OP. Like we had the really nice like Yua and Purin bonding stuff in that episode too. We had like the really nice conversation between the two of them, with them watching everyone else having fun, and them sort of reminiscing about their like childhood memories and reconnecting, and Purin kind of realizing that she really enjoys this. And of course, Yua asks her to join the club, and she doesn't really give an answer at that point. But we know that she's probably chewing on that one. I loved Jabuko and Takumi building that like insanely intricate sandcastle, and then Kokoro just like fucking like falls back on it.
Do-it-yourself manages to surprise me. How they can have like a cast of like 6 characters, but they all have like a role in the story. Like even though like the premise is so simple and there's so many characters, it doesn't feel like there's any like extras in here.
No, everyone has a place. Like everyone has a place. Everyone has a role. Everyone has their own like distinct personality and viewpoint.
Yeah, they're good at spreading out the focus, not on individual characters, but on like pairs of characters for each episode to kind of get everyone connected. Just to spread out the content of the show in general without it like wearing itself out, so you get just a little piece of everyone's connections at a time. There's 6 more episodes. I mean, I have no doubts they'll be able to space out the rest of it, because when you have 6 characters, there's a lot of ways you can pair everybody up, and I'm sure they're gonna have some more focuses on like individual characters.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, when Purin finally gets in full time, I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of her interacting with the other characters more as well.
I remember originally thinking when I saw like the trailer for this that they were going to focus more on just actually building the stuff and going into detail on like how to make stuff. Like it would be one of those sorts of anime where they're like, oh, we know our stuff. But it really doesn't put that much focus on like actually making the stuff, which was surprising to me. It's mostly focusing around them like getting the materials or getting the club members together or that sort of stuff.
It cleverly kind of sneaks in little like DIY tutorials every once in a while.
Speaking of shows with 6 main characters, it's time to move on to Akiba, Maid, Sensou, which once again, as you might expect, just more nonsense. However, we did hit our first actual arc that isn't just like a one-off episode, which of course they saved to put right at episode 6, leaving us on a big old cliffhanger.
Yeah, they smacked that right on the halfway, and yeah, it makes sense. You know, they sort of incidentally built up to that point by sort of establishing, I guess, the 2 gangs of the Akiba Maid world, which of course are the Creatureland group, which our cast is part of, and the Maid Alien group, which Narula is part of, and their sort of rivalry that they have. They both have like a weird. They both have a weird like vision for the future of Akiba Maid culture. Like, yeah, episode 4 was like the Creatureland group. They sent like the lady to like whip them into shape.
Okay, that was the boot camp.
Yeah,
episode.
The boot camp episode where they all get like indoctrinated, and like they like even Shipon, like she goes like non-gyaru for like like a moment, and it's like oh god, and then she like breaks the conditioning because like Tensho and the panda were like eating garbage outside.
Dude, Tensho always the star of the background of these episodes here.
Yeah, god.
It was in the camp episode where I think it was Shipon was planning on leaving and jumping out the window, and then she looks and sees like Tensho just literally just eating trash, and she's like, oh, hi, Shipon, and she's like, never mind, I'm staying. Right,
yeah, because Ronko like opens the window for her, because you know Ronko's always the one who understands. She has the most experience in this industry, so she's very sympathetic towards anyone kind of is trying to go their own path. So of course she lets Shippon go, but then she sees the garbage feat that's happening down there, and she's like, you know what?
That's funny. In the next episode, Tensho gets her own funny bit because they're supposed to be celebrating Ranko's birthday, and then after Ranko gets involved in antics, Tensho has to take the role of like the birthday girl, right?
Yeah, she has to like play. They'll play.
So
her
she's
role.
pretending that it's her birthday now.
Yeah, she has to play the role for the event, and then she gets all dressed up and everything. And they're just like, we don't want to waste this expensive cake because they had to pool all that money for it. But yeah, Ranko's birthday. Poor Ranko. Nagomi just wanted Ranko to be appreciated because she's just a good friend. And of course, they went to the Maid Sheep Cafe, and incidentally, the girl there was also having a birthday celebration, and she wasn't very happy about them having the same birthday. So naturally, the response that she had was trapping them tied up in a chair in a wooden barrel and filling it with tomato juice to kill them.
In the usual Maid Sensou fashion, the episode ends with many people dying.
Oh, they fucking wiped that cafe out. That was like the
there's so many people fucking die in this.
That was like the first like cafe wipe since like the first episode. Like they killed everyone. They totally just took them all out. I love how Okachimachi, the fucking panda, is like always like the one who's like coming to the rescue in a sense, because he's always like sort of like there seeing what's going on, and then like because in that episode he was the one who like went back and like reported to the rest of the gang that Nagomi and Ranko were captured. He always seems to be there at the right time. What's that panda up to? Who's in the suit? Yeah, we got our first sort of plot in quotes episode. Yeah, because we have Monami. She was in jail for killing people, and she's out of jail now, and she comes back to the Maid alien group, and she finds out that they've sort of caved on their ideals since she's been in jail, and she's not very happy about that. And she's got a big red bat that she like beats people to death with. Naturally, she was pissed off because of how our characters here at the Oinky Doink Cafe wiped out that cafe in the very first episode. She was not very happy about that, so she's sort of building up a raid on the cafe that we've yet to see, but we've seen the first, I guess, sort of casualty of this, which was poor Narula.
The vague friend of Nagomi, our main character, they usually, when they're handing out flyers, they tend to stick together.
She was like Nagomi's like most normal friend. Like she was like, Narula was like a good pairing in the sense that like Narula had the same sort of like optimistic, pure outlook that Nagomi had. She does the sisterhood initiation with the cool ramen dude. But Narula was unfortunately she tried to narc, and in stories like these, with gang related stories, if you're a narc, you're on the cutting board. That's like a death flag. Like
this is a show that you don't really predict what's gonna happen. It just kind of keeps throwing stuff at you, and you're like, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just rolling with the punches at this point, but like. All I know is that this is by far the most unique PA Works original anime ever.
BMAT's going to be talking about Bocchi the Rock on episodes 4, 5, and 6. And the ratings for the show just keep like hiking up the more the show goes on.
I talked about last time. I talked about how Bocchi's like every episode they were coming up with new creative things to do, and like taking the material and finding ways to embellish it and really improve it and transform it through an anime medium, where they're not just taking it, panel for Yonkoma panel. Like they're really they're filling it out with anime original stuff, and they're expounding upon the material and finding more creative ways to showcase it. And that hasn't changed at all.
And that's kind of the vibes I was getting when I revisited this show. I really noticed like the actual material they're not really working with anything crazy, but they really like to stylize every little gag or scene or thought or any of that gets like cranked up to 11 with like, oh, we got to make this unique. Like they're really putting in their own touch to a lot of it.
Episode 7 was like a single chapter that was just like 8 pages of Yonkoma panels, and they like transformed it into an entire episode and like put in like anime original stuff. You know, it still goes through the same beats that the manga went through, but it's just the way the visual identity of it is so distinct and stylized that they're really making it their own in the same way that Kiani did with K-On! And they want this to be something that just like the anime, it truly takes advantage of the medium to like the most extreme lengths they can possibly go.
I think Bocchi the Rock's like focus on, you know, music, creativity, that sort of stuff helps, you know, make it all work together, even though it seems like a bizarre combination to have like this awkward sense of humor and these like modest characters and paired up with this like really crazy art style. But I think that music element ties everything together.
The way they try to interpret like Bocchi's like delusions, like her inner world delusions, which were, you know, obviously those were very prevalent in the manga with the kind of humor that her character was sort of integrated with. And they really hard focused on crafting that weird twisted inner world of hers, where every time she goes in it's like a different like she's going through a different like weirdly animated transformative like internal world brain sequence. And I love that because it really does fit like the very like just like the very scattered brained, just like anxiety ridden aspect of her character. And she has like little delusion, and everyone around her is just like, Bocchi, come back! Bocchi, come back to us!
Any studio could have like picked this up and done just like a cutesy, straightforward adaptation with it, and it wouldn't have been. You would have got something decent out of it. But these guys are really just like going nuts with it.
I've been reading about some of the background on this production, because a lot of the staff members on Twitter talk about the production process of this show. Like this is like a bona fide passion project. Like the director like actually like went to like the producers at Cloverworks and was like, I want to adapt this manga. Like I want to adapt it.
He saw that spark.
He saw it
and
there,
then he jumped on it,
and he went for it. And of course the producers, you know, obviously they were like, okay, yeah, we can do that. Each episode, the director pitches like these crazy ideas on how they're going to adapt the next episode, and you know, a lot of those crazy ideas end up being like the very like weird like animation subversive segments of each episode, and he always pitches it to the producers, and the producers always like put their hands up and they're like, don't you think that's a little extreme? And in the end they always cave, and they always just like go the extra mile to do the thing that the director wants to do. So like all the staff on this anime have like coalesced into like being in sync of trying to take this adaptation to the next level whenever possible, and the producers have just kind of accepted that now. Yeah, no, if Bocchi was just like a normal ass like Kirara manga adaptation, yeah, you would have like a very small subset of people who really liked it, and then everyone else would have been like, yeah, that's alright, and then probably would have forgotten about it. Somehow in a season where we have more than one prestige shonen adaptation, you know, you've got your Chainsaw Man, you've got like the Bleach 1,000-Year War.
There's a ton of shit going on this season, as evident by like how long these fucking videos are doing.
Yeah, you got your like Mob Psycho the final season, and like you know we got all these big, heavy contenders that have a lot of momentum behind them already and just like name recognition, and somehow Bocchi is still breaking through that. True passion and soul in a work, it will come through to the viewer. The viewer will feel it.
They want these characters to be remembered.
Yeah, they do, and they want them to be remembered more for longer than one season, and I think they're gonna accomplish that. I think that what we've seen so far of the first half of Bocchi the Rock, that just all signals the reality that this is gonna be a remembered anime.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the future this is like a go-to for like a specific niche. Like if you want to watch cute girl like rock band anime, it's not just gonna be like K-On anymore.
They haven't even gotten out of the first volume yet. They're only like just getting to the end of it now, because the next episode is going to be the actual like concert. They've really taken their time. I mean, like I said, episode 7, that was like a one chapter with like 8 pages of Yonkoma panels, they built that into an entire episode. Episode 6 was the same way, where she meets like the drunken bassist for the other band. She's got like the sharp teeth, and she's got like the one braid. That one's another one where it's just a single chapter, and it's not like not a lot happens. It's mostly like Bocchi runs into her, and they sort of hang out, and then she has Bocchi do like the street performance with her, because Bocchi's trying to sell all her tickets for the show. But this established bassist who just day drinks herself all the time ropes her into doing a public performance. And I remember in the manga, like, it's one of those like clarity moments where like it steps outside of the humorous aspect and actually tries to sort of character build. But in the manga, like it kind of touches on it and then like touches off, and it's sort of like prepping for what's to come. But them having that entire episode be that interaction and then bringing her doing the street performance, it puts so much more emphasis on Bocchi's, personal development on a music standpoint, on like obviously like a social standpoint. It puts so much more emphasis on establishing and growing those themes and progressing that. And of course, this was already after like them do the episode 5, which was the tryouts, where they had to audition to do the concert. They wrote that new song, and everyone got in sync, and that was like the first true performance of the anime was during that. It was very stylistic. It was very well animated. Like if they nail the concert, like there's nothing more it has to prove. It can just keep having fun for the rest of the episodes, and it will be loved, and it will be remembered, and I'm really impressed with it. I'm really enjoying it. Bocchi's the kind of show that I feel like should give anyone renewed faith in the industry, to show that there are still many talented people out there, new and even like fresh talent in this industry, because Cloverworks is not that old of a studio. The anime industry still has very passionate people in it, and they want to keep taking things to the next level whenever they can. And I feel like Bocchi's is the anime that people needed right now.
These people, like, even if you don't like it now, they might work on something later that you'll like with like that same level of passion. So that's why it's worth like hyping up these kind of things.
Exactly. Like you gotta like keep our eyes on these people. Like remember the director is doing this. Like he had only directed one thing before this. There are a lot of names on this project I'm going to be writing down and keeping an eye on.
Let this be another lesson of the people hearing this. Look into the credits of the people who make the shows you like, because you can find a surprising amount of good stuff when you find like who's doing the good parts of it. Here's our very interesting anime of the season that we've still not dropped yet. Renai Flops!
Renai Flops.
Again. The one show that just... It has no chill. This is the show with no chill.
No, it doesn't have any chill at all. It's just like... It just keeps escalating. There's no like ceiling.
Every episode is just like getting punched in the face. You always think like, okay, now I know what this show has to offer. I know what they do now. And then the next show, they still just punch you in the face anyways. It's like, oh my god.
It just doesn't hold back at all. And still, it's just like... What is the end game for Renai Flops?
Yeah, they're still teasing us with like the whoa, look, we've revealed the mastermind. It's like I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, we in the most recent episode we finally seen I guess what we can assume is it was one of the people primarily behind this project, and they were a very Steins Gate looking character.
Fittingly.
Yeah, not a coincidence, because once again, main scriptwriter for this wrote Steins Gate 0, the VN. There was all the Loveland rabbit mascots around the like spooky table. I don't know what like the implication of that is. I don't know if they're like just monitoring, or if they're like controlling, or like God knows how deep their role is in this this conspiratorial thing.
We got our last three characters here. We had Ilya for episode 4. We had the teacher for episode 5, and then we had Karen for episode 6. So everyone's covered. We have the whole cast covered. I thought they wouldn't be able to keep surprising me, but the thing about this show is that it is like a dumb harem comedy, but it is like the dumbest. It is very creative. I've seen a handful of like shitty harem comedy anime. I would say for sure out of everything I've seen, this is the most creative stupid harem comedy. Like nothing else even comes close to it.
Yeah, I mean it's taken everything. Like it's taking all the harem tropes, it's taking all the dating sim tropes and just like mixing them in a bowl and then just kind of like slapping them down.
And it just likes to do everything in like the most ridiculous way possible.
Yeah, no holding back. It just does not believe in the meaning of the word restraint.
2 of the 3 episodes we had here were just almost entirely dick jokes. Like, that's 40 minutes of dick jokes. Like, can you handle this show? I almost died.
We really
watching
did
this.
get like the dick joke gauntlet. Because in Ilya's episode, we had like the fucking like Tengu mask penis.
Oh my god. I can't even like show this stuff in the video. You're just gonna have to take our word for it, dear viewer.
Fucking Asahi like having like a moment like boner admiring.
And then there's like the condom like Maho Shoujo mascot in episode 6, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the condom Maho Shoujo fucking like Karo-chan from like Cardcaptor Sakura-esque like partner, with the aliens that shoot like chastity belts onto men and explode their balls.
They shoot their dicks off.
Yeah, fucking explode their balls off.
This sounds like we're making this up, but this is like they're literally like shooting guys' dicks off.
Yeah,
in this
and like these alien like robots, like they have to get to 69 balls exploded to unleash their true power. Not making this up.
It's so incredibly. They broke new ground, perhaps, on how far we're going here.
Yeah, I mean, like the Maho Shoujo mascot was like, to save the world, you two have to fuck in this weird like.
You two just have to fuck to get her Maho Shoujo levels.
Yeah, because she fucking like harnesses Maho Shoujo power from like.
Her heart meter has to go up.
Her heart meter.
Her love meter.
Yeah. Yes, which she established she would like sneak like peaks of Asahi in like the bath, and that would be enough.
Smell is like
smell his clothes. Yeah, she was doing a little.
This man can't catch.
She was doing some freak shit. You know, I mean, he can't. I mean, in the fucking teacher episode, like he got captured and he had to go through like a whole like action movie pastiche that ended with like a Terminator sequence. Like he's been through the ringer. Though I think the teacher is the closest he's come to scoring, because they like slept together, like covered in like fucking lubricant.
She's the only one who actually gets to like sleep with him.
Yeah,
so she's the winner so far.
It would be the hot Chinese teacher who would be like the one who gets closest on this on this thing. It's just so fucking funny because like they kind of baited in a sense with like Amelia's episode, where it's just like she's trying to learn kanji. And she just wants to do good on her kanji test.
That was by far the most sane episode.
It was, and they sort of lured you into thinking that they would kind of like tone down, and then they just
ramps up so fast.
They just launched back up with the fucking bathhouse episode with like the fucking like weird like Ghibli knockoff character who like ran the bathhouse.
I originally thought Ilya was a girl, like at the start. I was like, yeah, Ilya's like the girl who looks like a guy. But then, like, Beam Out kept referring to Ilya as a guy, and the show refers to Ilya as a guy. I'm like, wait, what? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? And then it gets revealed it's like a double switcheroo. So I was right the whole time. Ilya was a girl, and I was like, wait, what? It's a double switcheroo. She's supposed to look like a guy who looks like a girl. So it's like
They like overlapped the like, they took that trope and like double deckered it.
And I think it's interesting the way they're writing it. I think they're writing each episode with like the fans of that character in mind. Like they're thinking, what would the fans of this character want to see? Like, so Amelia gets like the basic cute episode because she's like most straightforward, like, cute girl of the cast. And then you have, like, oh, the action-focused Chinese teacher gets her crazy, like, Terminator fucking movie plot thing going on. And then it's like, what do people like the cross-dresser like? Dicks?
Yeah.
There's a whole episode about dick jokes.
She's a girl and she has a boner.
Oh my god. Asahi, the whole thing there is like, he seems particularly more fond of this theoretical male Ilya. I think our conclusion was that there's a reason why Asahi likes Banana so much.
Yeah,
you know
I think
he's like slapping Ilya's ass and everything. He's like, man, for a guy, you sure do got a good butt.
Yeah, I like how they went all in on that, like, just guys being dudes.
I'm just saying, if Ilya was a guy, he would have won.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's the real reason Ilya couldn't be a guy, is because it would have been
too powerful. It would have been an instant win.
Too easy of a win. Like that, it takes all the tension out, if that's the reality. And we've learned very little about what's going on beyond the ominous final scene in the recent episode.
The show is juggling so much shit. It is insane that it is not falling apart.
I just want to know, like what is Renai Flops?
We were expecting them to reveal it on episode 7, but then it got revealed that episode 7 is going to be a beach episode, and immediately I'm like, well, that means they're not going to reveal shit, because it's going to be this stupid beach episode.
It's like you can't even predict it, though, because, like, you don't even know what they're going to do with the beach episode. Like, it's like, we think we know, but then we're going to watch the episode and we're going to be like, oh, we didn't know.
We've been trying to predict this show since the beginning, and we can't get anything right. It's impossible. The show is impossible to predict.
No, it just keeps evading. It just keeps dancing to its own tune. At this point, it's not even about, like, what. It's more about, like, why. Because, like, we know this is some, like, simulation. Why is there this scientist and these weird rabbit mascots? Like, what is their real purpose? What is the purpose of all this, him, like, wooing each girl and them having this, like, flashback moment? And then, like, after they have that flashback moment, they, like, change somehow? Yeah, it's like when they get woke, they suddenly, like, change a little bit. And that was really clear at the end of the recent episode, because, like, Karen got woke, and then all of a sudden she was, like, really shy about being touched, even though she was, like, a weird, like, sexual deviant who like spied on Asahi, you know, from taking his bath and shit, to being like him, like, trying to, like, get a feather off her head and her, like, freaking out about it. Like, the transformative, like, change. Like, what is the meaning of it?
I'm done like trying to guess what it's gonna do, because I'm like, I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, like, what the premise is. Like, it's gonna be something really wacky, I think. And I've determined flops is probably referring to the computing concept of flops.
But even knowing that isn't going to help us figure out what's going to happen. But I gotta hand it to Renai Flops. Most harem comedies make me want to stop watching it immediately, and I'm just struggling to keep watching it. This one just keeps making me want to watch more of it. It's like, I have to know what they're going to do next.
I keep taking the bait. It's so good at casting the fishing line.
It's because their fishing line is so high quality. They are using high quality bait.
Yeah, it's like bordering on parody, but not quite. It's like right in between the lines. Like, it's like hard to even, like, define it right now.
Speaking of insane, our show that we love to talk about to great lengths, Urusei Yatsura. Now, I'm gonna be honest with this one. After watching episode 6, I think I got my fill on this show. I'm like, you know what? I think there's a reason why I don't really talk about this show that much, is because I'm not actually that interested in watching more of it. So I think I'm dropping it after episode 6. I've seen enough of it. I'm like, it's a cute show. It's got fun characters. I got my fill. We're good here.
Yeah, I mean, Urusei Yatsura, I feel like the problem is I just don't really have anything new to ever say about it, because it's so defined. So like all I could talk about is how they are handling it in, like, an animation sense, or how they, like, portray the material with a more modern perspective. But, like, I've already talked about that multiple times, and really it's very consistent. Like, it is a consistent show that consistently does its thing, and it doesn't really deviate from that. You know, it's colorful cast, a lot of wacky characters, a lot of wacky banter. You know, you got the like Ataru Mendo rivalry going on, where they're always kind of like messing with each other inadvertently. I guess we got like our one like wholesome moment with the Lum saving Ataru's ass when he got the fake love letter from his like dumbass friends. And then he has to go to like the cafe to meet up with them, and then that's not going to happen because they like tried to hire a girl, and then she got sick because she ate too much shit.
And then the classmates realize if this doesn't work out, that fucking Mendo's going to become the new class president.
Yeah, he's going to have this like authoritarian rule over the school, and even though Ataru probably would have deserved the humiliation, Lum still came in and saved his ass, and they had a nice little like wholesome handhold moment.
There is one thing I'll hand it to this show is like 6 episodes in, they're still like introducing a new character like every single episode.
Yeah. Urusei Yatsura has a very like dense cast.
They seem mostly contained like to each individual episode, so they don't usually have like everyone on the screen at once unless they're doing the gag at the end of episode 6. Their designs are pretty nice. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the character designs are great. Takahashi's always been good at that. Urusei Yatsura, it's like I am enjoying it. You know, it's so easy to watch because it's just like you don't really need to think too hard about it. It's antics the show with good character designs. Like there's not a lot of brain power. I can just kind of put the new episode on and just kind of like relax through it and enjoy it for what it is, and then it's just kind of done. Like I don't need to use any extra brain power on it. So I've wanted to sort of like interact with Takahashi's body of work more.
This seems like a pretty good way to get introduced to it.
Yeah, so I might as well just enjoy it for what it is. I'll stick with it.
The little lies we all tell. So okay, I'll just say right now, I'm not going to drop this anime.
Okay, I'm not dropping it either.
I even went against like my own word. I said one of the episodes I didn't laugh a single time, but you know what? It's like I can't put it down. I can't put it down. I like the characters too much. They're too good. I like the cast too much. Even though the gags are like, I still have the same complaints that all of the gags are like, they're not made to be stretched out so long. They're made to be like contained in like what I imagine works better in manga form, where they just end right away. But every little scenario, every single gag gets dragged on to like a specific time stamp. So some of them can't last that long. Others work decently. That's pretty much the main reason why the show is hit or miss, because not every gag was made to be stretched out to like 5 minutes.
Right, and it kind of makes me wish I had more perspective on the source material. But of course, like there was only one.
It's not
there was only one chapter. I mean, like if I wanted to dig up like the raw scans, I would be able to, I guess, see the like how long a gag lasts.
Pacing.
Yeah, I guess I could get like the feel for it, but whether it's like fundamentally different, But
who knows? This anime might influence someone to go back and translate more of the manga.
Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, it's absolutely a show that's carried by its characters. So like even when the gags miss, the characters bring you back in because you like them enough.
I think it says a lot about me which shows I didn't drop so far. It's like I need the dumb shit.
They're different flavors of dumb shit, so it definitely works out. Of course, Sekine's really carried this show hard for me.
She only gets better the further it goes.
Yeah,
on.
and it helped that like the recent episode, it was like very focused on her. A lot of good moments with her specifically. She's like a good amalgamation of like Glasses Girl characters tropes that I like, even just beyond the like Glasses Girl braids look. She's got that penny pinching like part of her personality where she's like sort of destitute, so she always like tries to like finagle like cheap shit. Kind of reminds me of like the green-haired Glasses Girl from Love Lab. She's wise, but she's also just like, she's not afraid to just like cut and run or be stupid when like the situation arises. She just sort of like thinks of an escape route. On top of the fact that she's voiced by Ayane Sakura, who just I like. Rika's just like obviously like the chaos element, being like the alien. And then you got Chio, who she's gotten a lot of attention, especially in these last few episodes.
Cause she's supposed to be like the traditionally cute character here.
Yeah, and of course like the thing with her is like she's trying to acclimate to like living a normal life which is difficult because she spent her like entire childhood learning to like kill. Too, I liked how like in the recent episode, like Sekine and Chio were in the bath, and Sekine wanted to wash Chio's back, but she like reflexively was like no, and she like dodged around it because she had that like conditioning where she was never supposed to show her back to anyone because you know in the ninja world that gets you killed. And then of course poor Tsuyoshi, who also has gotten a lot of attention. Who's he's trying his best. He's trying to acclimate, but it's hard because he's got boy brain. So like talking with girls about girl things, like he just sort of like isn't quite on the same tempo.
In one of the episodes, he does get turned into a girl for a small amount of time, and then he ends up finding out he enjoys it a lot.
Yeah. Thanks, Rika, again. The hardest I laughed at the show did happen in the beach episode. It was when Chio was getting like hit on by those guys, and she did it like the counter attack, and it like sent the dude flying like 50 feet in the air, and you hear him like screaming really far away, and then you just see him come down and like fucking like fall face first into the ground. I like actually laughed at that really hard. Of course, it was like the slapstick again. It was like the fucking like slapstick ass like launching a dude in the air and like having him like come crashing back down.
Oh wait, I almost forgot.
Oh yeah,
almost forgot. There's one more show. Oh, we've been teasing you guys so long. There's a show that we keep acting like we're gonna talk about it, and then we just never do. But yeah, I think it's time we finally talk about Con Season 2.
Highly anticipated. It's only 8 episodes long, so instead of airing in the first week, it aired in the like 5th week. Where do I even start? Where do I even start with this? I think the hardest part is I can't even like justify my reason for watching this. Like I was never even I was not like a Con fan, right? I was a Con secondary in the same way that I'm like a Fate secondary. There are like specific characters I like, and those specific characters I care about them from like a like distance perspective, where I learn enough about their characters through like osmosis and like fan art and other related fan work stuff. That's like the extent of it, right? Like I get that perspective, and that's enough for me, because like I was not going to play Con. I wasn't going to play like a browser game about warships being girls. Even in the height of its popularity, it wasn't going to get me.
Back then, we were already on our gotcha shit. I mean, I was playing fucking Fate Grand Order. B-Man was playing fucking Girls Frontline and shit.
I knew enough characters to name them, but I wasn't, like, ingrained in, like, the Con lore, I guess.
As we've mentioned back in episode 0, this shit was big. These characters, they were very, very popular for a limited amount of time.
Con was, like, on top of the world at one point. I watched the first season of Conte Collection to sort of understand what it was and like how it sort of functioned. Though I mean, trying to watch an anime to understand a browser game, I guess, is probably not the smartest thing to do. I feel like Conte Collection probably should have just gone for like a Carnival Phantasm kind of goofball show, where it was just like slice of life comedy goofiness with the characters just being themselves.
When you want to make a show that has like 8 trillion characters you want to include briefly, always just go for the goofy Carnival Phantasm shit.
They should have gone hard in, because the big thing with the first season of Conte Collection, and that most people bring up as a primary complaint, it would have these like sort of slice of life bits, but then it would have like the serious like battle shit that don't really work together in a single viewing. Kensuke Tanaka, the main brain behind Con, is a big, I mean, surprise, he's a big naval nerd. He's big on like warships and like the way they're built and like warship history and stuff like that. The dude's a fucking nerd. He wrote the first season of Con. He's writing the second season. I mean, it makes sense. It's the guy. It's the Con guy writing Con. He wants to get his fill of ship battles and stuff because he wants to like commit to that bit. But like I think he's taken it himself a little too seriously. I also remember like they tried to emulate the player character in the first season, and like he was like a complete moron. And
what are they trying to say?
Yeah, it's like you don't want to make the player character of a game like that a moron. And then what are you saying? You're saying that the people playing the game are morons. You know, all the Con players, they weren't really happy about that. First season ends, they immediately announce a second season. Next year they do a movie. But then right after that, Konko's like notoriety like dived.
And then now, 15 years later, season 2 is finally here
Yeah.
at the very bottom of its relevancy.
So I have to talk about, because I've watched 3 episodes of this thing, which is like nearly half, because it's only 8 episodes long. So they've committed to the serious part on this one. The first 3 episodes, it involves them putting together a team, and basically they're going on like what is considered like a suicide run. They're like the team of misfits who are like probably not gonna make it back, and they're all sort of just like acutely aware of that. Now the reason for this, I'm busting out the history books here. So our protagonist is Shigure, who's a destroyer class ship. The first 3 episodes cover this suicide mission, which is based off of a real battle called the Battle of Lake Gulf between, of course, the Imperial Japan and the boys in red, white, and blue, the United States of America. And it was a very decisive Pacific Theater naval battle. And by decisive, I mean it was decisive for us because we fucking wiped them. They all got sunk. They all got fucking destroyed in this battle that actually happened. Except for one ship. The only ship that made it out of that battle was Shigure. So of course she's the protagonist of this show, and that's why. She was the one who made it out of this battle. Now, of course, this is cold twisted, right? Because like, it's the same way in which like Strike Witches twists actual World War II battles into like weird alien battles. Cold twists the like naval battles of like history. But then, of course, you have to factor in, like, the Abyssals, who, once again, they live in this, like, weird... I don't know enough about Konko lore to actually describe this. This is just sort of, like, my interpretation of it. They live in, like, this weird, like, almost, like, reverse world, where they live on, like, the other side of the water. Like, so, you know, they're pitted up against these guys, and Konko characters have this, like, very distinct style, and, like, pretty much all the characters that show up are pretty much how I expect them to be. I don't know a lot of the characters that are in this. There's not a lot of them that are ones that I knew when I cared at all about Konko. The only one I think that I knew enough about was Hamikaze, and she hasn't even shown up yet. But essentially, the first 3 episodes cover this mission. And what I can assume is the third episode was like the end of it. I don't know how much you can really do to make the like ship girls just kind of like on the water going towards their destination that much more interesting than you would think it would be, because they're just kind of like on the water in their formation, just kind of like talking and like discussing the mission and like prepping, and it's like kind of dry. There's like the 4 like littler ships who are like the cutesy ones that like they try to like interject their like cuteness into like the dryness to sort of like give it some flavor. But ultimately, like, it's really just like this like build up to the actual battle and then the battle itself. I'm assuming it's because Kensuke Tanaka wants this to be sort of like, I don't know, like authentic, I guess. The way that like the enemy waves work in this anime, like, it feels like it's probably like how they work in the game. Yeah, the CG that was so prevalent in the first season, it looked like very fucking weird and goofy, completely back in all its glory. The CG looks so weird, man. That goes on for a while. And, you know, the whole time I'm kind of watching this, and I'm just like, what did I expect? Like, what did I actually expect this show to be like? Because once again, my reasons for watching it weren't like good reasons. It was just...
It was pure curiosity of like, why?
Yeah, it was like, it was on my plan to watch since the first season aired and ended, because they announced it immediately. And then all of a sudden I get like the notification that it's finally airing this year, and it's like, I for some reason I'm like drawn to that idea of like, why are they doing it now? Like, I can appreciate that they're at least sticking to their guns to one style this time. They tried to spice it up. Like, I can tell they're trying. Shigure is like a decent protag. She's kind of like a soft spoken. She was sort of like a straightforward, like kind of like happy like kind of plain protagonists who sort of fit that role. The characters are like the main cast that they were showing off, like, you know, you kind of got to get glimpses of their characters as, like, I'm assuming that, you know, as they are based off of, you know, how they are in the game, and I guess it's enough to establish them, but it's like beyond that, it was really just like I watched like these ship girls riding on the water for 3 episodes, and then some battling happened, and you know, I wasn't, it wasn't like agonizing, but like the entire time I was just like, you know, why am I watching this? I don't know if that question has really been answered or not, but I don't know what they're gonna do next. Like, are they gonna do another serious thing?
The 4 slice of life episodes in a row,
or are they gonna be like, okay, we're back at base, fuck it, no more battling, it's time to do slice of life shit, guys, no more sadness, it's time to just chill. And here's all your favorite characters. We got the cute characters on backup, and it's like, it will be determined whether or not I dropped it when we get to the final episode. It'll be the only one that hangs in the balance of the drop zone, because everything else is obviously everything else I'm watching is locked in at this point. There's no further drops that are going to happen.
Basically, the next episode of this is going to be the last one for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The way these rankings shake out, I think they're gonna be interesting.
So far, it looks like Do It Yourself has a pretty clear lead, but a lot can happen in 6 episodes, and we have a few shows here where we don't know what's gonna happen on the next 6. So that's pretty much it for this one. Thanks for listening once again.
We'll see you on the other side of the season.
All right, then I'm just going to hit the